So next up we have John Oberg. He is a social media influencer and activist who focuses his efforts in creating a better world for animals by utilizing the power of social media. Woo.
Well, I didn't expect to tear up on stage. Nice job, Dan. Any social media activists out there? Woo! I said any social media activists out there. Alright, that's what I like to hear. Imagine yourself for a moment as Terry the pig. You are born into absolute filth and sadness and cruelty. You never see the outdoors until one day you are pushed onto this monstrosity, a slaughterhouse-bound truck. And you're crammed so tightly you can barely move an inch. You're hungry, but there is no food. Thirsty, but there is no water. Hot as hell, but there is no relief. And this is your life, and this is how you spend the 30 or so hour ride from some factory farm in Iowa to a slaughterhouse in Los Angeles. Until you arrive, you're pushed off into an unremarkable building, shackled, stabbed, boiled, and eventually eaten. And this was the life of Terry. And this is the life of so many pigs, so many farm animals experience nothing but misery. But Terry's life was not in vain. I took this video, many thousands of people have seen it, and Terry's life was not in vain because Terry will influence so many people in the future. And this is the power of social media. This is the power at our fingertips. You are part of a movement to give these animals a voice like they've never had before. You're some of the few who are willing to give a voice to those whose voices have been muffled, to speak up against injustices, to speak up when others are silent. So thank you so much. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Now, social media allows us to speak up for the animals in a whole new way. It allows us to reach hundreds, thousands, or even millions of people all across the globe. Social media is essentially a new frontier for animal rights, and I'm here to tell you that animal liberation is achievable if we use social media in the right ways. In 2019 so far, I've had a reach of 100 million impressions of my posts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. But this is not magic. I do not have a PhD in social media science. I am just a regular guy who looked at what was working and what wasn't working on social media and fine-tuned my approach over and over in order to maximize the good that I can do for animals. The thing is, everybody here can do the same thing. Even if it's not 100 million impressions, if you can go from 1,000 to 10,000, that is a huge victory for animals. So that's why I'm here today, to talk a little bit about becoming more effective on social media, both in tactics and communication. Now, the idea is to communicate effectively for animals. Operative word, effectively. We always have an opportunity cost. So what I mean by that is when we're on social media and beyond, when we choose to do or say something, we're choosing not to do or say something else. So obviously, we all need to do what we can to take advantages of those opportunities to say what is most effective. So when it comes to taking advantage of social media, there's a variety of things that you can do. You can share posts from other individuals and activists, organizations, companies. You can engage in dialogue in a respectful way. This is Michael Gove, the Environment Secretary for the UK. He was promoting dairy, which I thought was really weird because he's an Environment Secretary. So I tweeted at him, and my tweet ended up getting more engagement than his tweet. I'm sure he loved that. Talk about your origin story. Talk about how you came to be the activist that you are today. and talk about the great vegan food you love and how your dog likes to ruin your photos, or make it better depending on what you think. Talk about humor. Connect with your audience with humor. This is when I was mauled by a group of puppies. Worst experience of my life. And most importantly, talk about the things that most people don't see on a regular basis. Talk about how farm animals and other animals are being abused behind the closed doors of slaughterhouses and factory farms. Now, who here has done any of these things? Raise your hand. Please give yourselves a round of applause. I saw pretty much everybody's hand go up, and that is awesome. And I'm glad you guys are all here to talk about and learn about how to become more and more effective. Now, when it comes to specific strategy, here are a few tips. Avoid the vegan bubble. If your newsfeed is full of nothing but people talking and thinking just like you, then something's wrong. That's not reality. Reality is a lot of people, a diverse group of people, having very diverse opinions and thoughts on things. And in order for you to understand how to best influence society, you need your news feed to reflect society. So you should not just automatically hide everybody who has a different opinion than you. If you're liberal, don't hide all your conservative friends. If you're conservative, don't hide all your liberal friends. Otherwise, you're going to become more and more in this bubble and less able to influence society. Work to empower and inspire your audience, not just depress them. Post a blend of different kinds of content. Don't just post sad stuff all the time. Variety is the spice of life, so obviously you want to mix it up. So yes, talk about sad stuff like factory farming once in a while, but then talk about great vegan food. By the way, 2 Beyond Burgers on 1 burger is way too much protein. I don't recommend it. And again, throw humor into the mix. Throw yourself under the bus so that everybody knows you once had hair like a Viking. And when in doubt, post pictures of piglets. Every single person on the face of the planet loves piglets, so don't be afraid to throw them in there. And when you're asking people to take action, ask them to take action on the social media platform that they're on. So here I am on a tweet telling people to please retweet far and wide. And people did. And as a result, you can see over 7 million people have viewed this video of a crawfish holding on to dear life. And know your audience. Know what ask is going to work with your audience. For example, I know that about 45% of my Twitter followers are vegan, which means that 55% are not vegan. So if every single one of my tweets was talking about veganism, I would turn off a lot of people would unfollow me. So I understand I will occasionally throw in the vegan message, but sometimes I'm a little bit more subtle with it. I might talk about, consider stopping the idea of eating animals, or try meatless Mondays. The idea is to have an ask that is actually going to work with your audience, because if you ask for too much, you're going to get nothing. Going back to that in a second. Basically, in addition to all the good things you want to talk about with animals, you also want to talk about having a 3-dimensional life, having interests outside of animal advocacy. You don't want to just come off as overly obsessed with animal rights, because you're going to come off as a zealot, and people are going to think you're weird, and people aren't going to care what you have to say. So to come off as normal, do things like show off your overly tight cheetah pants that all your friends can troll you about and tell you never to wear it again. Talk about the time that you got to hang out with the Jolly Green Giant, or complain that only 89% of people think this is the cutest dog of all time. What's wrong with people? Now, the idea is to be effective. So speak in your own voice. So if you're sharing a post on Facebook, write your own caption. If somebody is replying to your post or commenting on your post, reply to that comment. And remember that the majority of people who are seeing your posts are actually passive. They're not liking, commenting, or sharing. most social media users are actually passive and aren't actually engaging. So when you're engaging in dialogue with someone, it's important to keep in mind that most of the people who are seeing your conversation aren't even engaging. So you actually should really think about influencing those tens or 20s or hundreds of people as opposed to the one person you're having dialogue with. And if I could boil this whole speech down to 4 words, it's these. Don't be a jerk. When is the last time you were a jerk, or you saw somebody being a jerk or being a bully on social media and said, I want to be like that person? Probably never. And so we should really treat everybody with respect, especially those who disagree with us, and everybody will take our message more seriously. Less is more. Avoid writing so much that people are going to tune you out. As much as I would love to scream from the mountaintops all the hundreds of reasons that somebody should go vegan, I understand that a subtle approach is going to do more good in the long run. This is a 7-word sentence with an emoji paired with a simple video of a pig, a piglet, and a dog. It's got over 1 million views, like 30,000 likes, 6,000 retweets, and like 3,000 comments. Because it's simple and simplicity works on social media. So as much as vegans, we love to just rattle off 100 reasons why somebody should do something, sometimes the simpler approach is the better one. Find the middle ground between posting too much and too little. Posting too much, people are going to tune you out and become bored. Posting not enough, and people are going to forget that you exist. Find the right middle ground. Posting 1 to 2 times about animal issues every 1 to 2 weeks is a happy medium in my opinion. If you post every single day, you are going to very quickly reach a point of diminishing returns. And don't be accusatory. The question isn't so much whether or not you're connecting with vegans, as much as it is whether or not you're connecting with non-vegans. Finger pointing is not a good place to start a conversation, so focus on effective communication. Not communication that makes you feel good, or communication that helps you win arguments. You know, every single day on social media, I see vegans shaming and bashing non-vegans. And I gotta tell you all, that is not a good look on us. We need to be respectful. So, if you've got to remember one thing from this talk, it's about winning hearts and minds, not arguments and debates. So other tips for your consideration. Don't automatically cross-post. Post natively to every platform. Late morning, early afternoon is the best time to post. Keep your captions nice and short, 2 to 3 sentences ideally. I have an 80-20 rule, so 80% of my posts I like to have short and sweet, 20% I like to go a little bit longer, a little bit deeper. Use emojis. Also use social media to network with people within your field, within your niche. Put friends in friend lists so you can keep track, especially if you're traveling. If you create events, invite people in waves to your events, starting with people who are most likely to attend, and that's going to get you more RSVPs overall. Video content is best. Video content is the stuff that's most likely to go viral, most likely to be seen by the most amount of people. And use third-party platforms like Buffer to schedule posts. This will make your life so much more efficient and so much more enjoyable. Instead of waking up every day thinking, what am I going to post to all these different platforms? Include hashtags in Instagram posts, but don't really bother with Twitter or Facebook. Experiment with new features when social media platforms offer them. If you do that, you're going to be prioritized higher in news feeds. And most importantly, don't click the like button on your own posts. We all know you like the posts, otherwise you wouldn't have posted them. Now, each platform has different advantages and different disadvantages. Facebook is great because of the reach. There's so many users, and that share button is a thing of beauty. Because of the share function on Facebook, magnitudes more individuals can see your posts than the people who have already opted in to seeing your posts. So for example, I have like 30,000 followers on Facebook, but I had a post a few weeks ago get 133,000 shares. And because of that, millions of people have seen that post. Millions of people who don't really care about me or the stuff I'm normally posting, but they're seeing that one post. And so that is pretty awesome in terms of the power that Facebook has. The downside of Facebook is that the algorithm is so killer. So if you're posting content that's not getting a lot of engagement, nobody is seeing it. So you really got to focus on high engagement content for Facebook. Now Instagram is probably your favorite platform. It's most people's favorite platform. I really enjoy scrolling through the Instagram newsfeed more than I do other platforms. But the problem with Instagram is that there is no share function, so you're speaking essentially to a captive audience, people who have already opted in to your message. So the ability to spread a message across Instagram is a little bit different, a little bit more difficult. And Twitter is a bit all over the place. I personally love Twitter, but your tweets are going to get a lot less engagement than you might get on other posts on other platforms. So you should definitely keep that in mind. Big reason for that is because there's so many accounts out there tweeting so rapidly, so the newsfeed is so rapid fire that you're going to get less engagement. But the good thing is the algorithm isn't as killer, so you can tweet a lot and get away with it. For profile photos, I recommend going with something a little bit on the professional side for Twitter, something that your friends and family would appreciate for Facebook, and for Instagram you can be a little bit more on the artsy side. That's about as artsy as I get. Don't put all of your follow your heart vegan eggs into one basket. So what I mean by this is that you should diversify your time across different platforms. Don't focus all of your energy building up your Twitter or building up your Instagram without focusing on other platforms too. The reason being is if in 2 years the social media platform goes belly up or the public loses interest, then you just built up all that capital for nothing. So you really want to spread it out. I mean, when is the last time you guys heard from MySpace Tom? Don't be afraid to bow out of conversations if people are upsetting you, or if people are posting things that are regularly upsetting you. For example, you might have some vegan friends who are well-intentioned, but might be posting animal abuse every single day, and you don't want to see that. Not only do I think that's not really a great strategy, but also that's upsetting people. So if it's upsetting you, unfollow that person rather than unfriending this person. That way you're not burning that bridge, they can still see your content, you can still message each other, and you might want to unfollow or refollow them later down the line. Now, the success you see on social media is only going to be the tip of the iceberg. You will influence far, far more people than you will ever know. And if you choose to use social media effectively, you're going to have a lot of messages just like a few of these that I received. If you take away one thing from this speech, it's that you can be confident that factory farming is not going to survive the age of social media. The speed of which we achieve this, however, is entirely dependent on the work that you and I put in on a regular basis. As people learn the horrors of the cruelty that factory farms inflict on animals, more and more people will make a difference. So I want to leave you with a quote from the great Maya Angelou. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will not forget how you made them feel. And so as effective vegan activists, we need to make people feel. We need to make people feel inspired to make a difference for animals because they are depending on us. Thank you.